Perfect. So, go ahead and introduce yourself and then tell me just a little bit about you and what you're studying at UF.
All right. Um, Hi, my name is Tony Pham. I'm a first year UF student. I am currently majoring in mechanical engineering. Um, a year ago, I just found out, like in 2 days was when I found out I got accepted into UF. So it was kind of a surreal moment. So I'm kind of glad of where I'm at right now, and I'm hoping to just move forward.
Awesome. Yeah. So I like that you mentioned that it was a year ago because I just remember that today is decision day. But
hmm
I want to go back to your early educational experiences, like K through 12 education. Was education largely focused on in your home and not just like what was focused on like the current education, or was there a big push towards going to college growing up?
There was always a push to like get to college. My parents had never been to college. They were both born and raised in Vietnam, so they didn't really like get the opportunity to go to college during those times. So it was always a push to get to college and have a successful career, and that's ultimately what I'm trying to pursue. Not just for them, but for myself.
Awesome. And where did you say where you grew up? I couldn't remember.
My parents were born and raised in Vietnam.
Hmm. And were you?
Um, I was here. I was born in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania,
Oh, cool.
but
Um,
lived in Florida most of my life.
awesome. Um, do you mind talking a little bit more about your parents' educational experiences or what they currently do?
Yes. Okay. So, um, I just go from the beginning for like
Mhm.
the storyline will make more sense.
Mhm.
Um, at a young age, my parents split, so it was just me and my mom. We moved down to Florida when I was around 2 years old. So every year, like I visited my dad, but we didn't really have a close relationship. So it was just mostly my dad and then the father figures around me in Florida. So I ultimately didn't like know my father well, but several years later after we moved, and I would say like around second grade was when I came home from school one day, and then my mom picked me up, which was like from daycare at a early time, which was unusual because she would usually be working. And that's when we learned that my dad had passed.
Mhm.
So um, a lot of my family expected me to be emotional about it, and as like family members should be. But ultimately for me, I realized that um, he wasn't like it wasn't a path I was gonna follow. Like I couldn't follow his path anymore because he wasn't there. So it was my opportunity to pave my own path and choose where I wanted to go. And it was more of a motivation to be better and continue moving forward instead of making it an excuse to fail. And then, yeah. So, um, going back to your question regarding what my parents do, my mom currently works at a nail salon. She's been doing that basically ever since she got here. And I mean, over time, the occupation has developed, so it has gotten better for her, but it's still something that she didn't want me to do or like be a part of, and that's why she kind of promoted education for me.
Wow. Yeah. Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah.
Um, so going towards high school, was there a greater emphasis in that? Like, I guess, when did you start thinking about college and like where you wanted to go?
Yeah. Okay. So, I guess really middle school, sixth grade was the turning point of my life. I was always like a good student in the sense of like I did well, but it was never like a straight A student or that perfect student that everyone like expected or like knew to just like be a part of clubs and like at a high level, just like all the friend groups, people know you as the smart one. I wasn't one of those person. I was just like like on the average side, if you would say. But I think middle school was really my turning point. I didn't go to like a good school at all. It was pretty bad. Um, a lot of people were just coming from like bad environments, and like it just didn't help them being there, and it was just like the influences around didn't help. But that really was my turning point, because I really found myself and like knew that hard work pays off. And that's when like I got like straight A's for the first time, and I realized that it's something I could do rather than something like I just thought the smart kid could do, like the quote unquote smart kid. And I guess throughout the years of middle school, and then knowing that I'm going to transition to high school, I realized that like college is coming sooner than I think it is, and that I really need to start thinking about like what I want to do, what I want to be. And I really just like found myself throughout the whole process of like middle school throughout high school. It took me like to the end of high school to know what I wanted to be.
Yeah. So in high school, did you receive like more resources towards going to college, or was it kind of the same as in middle school where you didn't feel supported?
I wouldn't say I didn't feel supported
Mm-hmm.
in middle school, because I always had the teachers who like believed in me, and having someone to believe in you is all you really need. Uh, just because like a lot of people don't have that belief, like sometimes their parents aren't going to be there for them, and they really just are alone. Although that wasn't my case, because my parents were really supportive. Um, I felt that it was just more so teachers, and then knowing that pushing myself, there's more like opportunities to come if I just do that. And I guess in high school it was like joining clubs, meeting new friends, and sharing like thoughts about what we wanted to do in the future like kind of helped. And I also like took I see a lot of things in different perspectives, and I usually take the positive perspective in most cases. And just like being around positive people helped, but also being around negative people, because you learn their perspective and you learn like how to look at two sides instead of one. So ultimately that kind of like helped me, because I just learned how to look at different perspectives, because you can easily be trapped in a mindset. And like one thing I always say to myself, and that I really believe in, is like you have the power of a mindset, and it's ultimately up to you to control, because the way you choose your mindset to be is the way it chooses to control you. So that's what I believed in, and like I think that my mindset has carried me. And like I asked my friends a lot, I was like, if there's like one thing that can stand out about me, like, or like how I can be better, like what stands out. And they're like, you always have a positive mindset. And like like although they always see that in me, there's always times that you are down, but you just got to choose to not look at that side.
Yeah, that's a great way to go through life.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, and so moving forward to applying for college, since your mom hadn't gone to college, what was that like for both of you?
It was definitely more dependent on me. She believed that, like, she kind of relied on me to do what I needed to do. And I mean, that was hard because I didn't have guidance, but luckily, a friend of mine who is in MFOS too, her name is Tamia. She kind of like guided me throughout the whole process. We were friends since like sixth grade, but she decided to graduate early because that was her goal. So when she was here, I just asked about application process, not even thinking if I'm going to UF or not. I just needed the guidance of how to, like, what to do, where to get started, um, what do I write about for my essay. Like it was all just like a blur. Like although you thought your guidance counselor was supposed to be there to help you, they just told you like the little steps, the things you needed to do, but not really like the in depth to it. It was just the broad instructions. So I'll give it up to like her most definitely, who guided me, was just relying on like friends who are here. And that helped me a lot, and she still helps me till this day, like in this process now. And I believe in like you just need that one mentor to help guide you.
Yeah, that's awesome. I too rely on my mentors a lot at UF. Um, and so then fast forward coming to college, and obviously your first year has been a little bit of a different experience due to COVID, but um, was your first generation identity something that I guess you were really aware of before college, or do you think your view of yourself as a first generation student kind of shifted once you like entered MFOS, if that makes sense?
Yeah. I definitely think it shifted entering MFOS. I didn't realize how big um the topic was just in college in general. I understand that a lot of people don't have that opportunity, and like MFOS gives that opportunity because they believe in like us and then certain people who have that ability to like try. Because like most first generation students don't have the resources, but the fact that they even qualify or tried hard enough to be here kind of shows like they have that determination to be something and they just need someone to believe in them. And I really believe that MFOS does that. And so I think it's just like first generation students. I never realized like how many of them there are and how many don't get that opportunity. And it's like the people who can make the most change in this world just because they have so many perspectives that they've seen. Like what I've gone through, like even though I lost my parent, like my dad, and almost lost my mom, it was, I feel like somehow that there's someone in a way worse situation than I am. Like they want to make change, they want to do something, but yet they don't have that opportunity to do it. So that's what I realized about like first generation students in general. I didn't realize how like the gap that there is where they don't have that opportunity and the gap that like of them being a student. So I really think they changed my perspective on first gen and how important it is. And yeah, I just think that it's just like opportunity, like literally what the scholarship says.
Yeah, yeah. And so, how does MFOS, I'm not sure affect is the word I'm looking for, but affect your college experience like weekly or daily?
All right. I think just having like them being friendly and approachable, like Richard, Leslie, Erica, and I know Destiny just joined, and then there's Zachary, and then a couple other like mentors in general, like just everyone in the program. They all want to help you. And coming to college, UF specifically, friends from high school, everyone just had the mentality of competition, of wanting to be better than everyone, wanting to be superior, thinking that they're superior just because they got here, when that really isn't the case. To be productive in this environment and to move forward in life and be a part of a career, you're going to need to be like working with others, and you need to like understand that you're on this journey together rather than alone. You're not competing against one another. And I think the program itself like tells you that, and they have those resources to tell you like if you need us, we're here. And every time I talk to Richard, Erica, Leslie, they've always been like really nice and approachable, and they're like they really want to help you, they really want to see you succeed. And it really is just like hard for some people to see that because they're too afraid to talk. They fear like judgment, they fear a failure, when you kind of need that in life to just to bring you up. Like you're gonna have to fall to go back up. Like once you climb a mountain, you got to come back down, and you can climb it again. It's not always gonna be a peak.
Yeah, yeah. All excellent points. Um, and so, tell me a little bit about what you want to do in the future, and I know you already said what your major was, but kind of, I guess, why you're interested in that.
Yeah. Okay. Um, I've grown with a hobby of like sports cars, and um, I kind of used the mechanical engineering field as like a part to lead up to that path. And it's just like I want to be involved in like the manufacture and the design of like certain just the next generation of like vehicles, or it could be anything. Like I'm not too sure yet. Like right now, my dream is to work, like be a part of a Formula One team, just to work in that environment and like understand the competitive aspect, while also like manufacturing and developing like new technology. Because like the past year there was like throughout the pandemic they still had races and it was difficult, but over the last few years they changed the car and they added like safety devices called a halo. It's like a circle thing. I don't know. I can't explain it that well, but it's to protect the driver. And although people complained that it was ugly and that aesthetically it didn't look well, it came into play like a couple months ago where a driver went straight into a barrier and the whole car broke. And that little thing saved his life. So I think being a part of just developing new technology, but being able to compete, because the competitive aspects of sports in general is something like I love. So one day I hope, and I think one day I will be able to be in like a competitive race team and just work for them. But if that doesn't happen, then it happened for a reason. I'll be a part of another project that I was meant to be a part of. And I really believe that I will be successful. And not to like put down how hard it is. Like I'm already struggling this first year, but it's something I knew when I stepped in to become an engineer, that if I don't have the determination to overcome the failures, that I won't succeed in life, or like just in general. So as long as I can keep going, even if I fail and fall back, then that's all that matters to me.
Yeah, that sounds like an awesome career path. Are
Yeah.
there any like mechanical engineering organizations or clubs, or even like clubs related to your field? Do you know?
I do. I haven't been involved just because how the year has been.
Mhm.
Um, I kind of focus on school now and then stay safe, because I still go home a lot. Like
Mhm.
even if I'm here, I just go back home in a couple weeks, and I don't want to risk family members. So I hope to join soon. I know there's like a Gator Motorsports. They're basically a Formula racing team, but just at a smaller level. So that'll be cool to get on hands-on experience.
Yeah, that sounds awesome. There's so many clubs at UF. I figured
Yeah,
be something similar. And so coming into UF, a lot of people have an expectation of what it's going to be like. Do you think and again, obviously this year has been different, but do you think your view of like higher education or UF specifically has changed now that you are here?
um I mean, when you kind of come in, you have to think about the different perspectives. So obviously it wasn't ideal coming in and not having all the events that I thought was going to happen. Especially being a football fan, I was ready to like have a good football season and enjoy it. And although I did, it wasn't the same like what I thought it was going to be. So on that aspect, yes, it's changed. But on the aspect of like school, I don't think it has changed that much. Although I'm not in classes, I still realize like how hard and difficult and like why they do this. And I can still see like, because I had a view of like competitive aspects of like students wanting to fight for a position just to be higher than you. And like although I don't let that get to me, because I have like a mindset that says like, hey, like no matter who tries to be better than you, you're still doing the best you can, or like, and you're still the best you can be. So like you can't put yourself down just because someone says it. And then so my views of that hasn't changed that much, just because like I kind of expected like certain things based on certain situations. So as long as you look at perspectives, you can see like what you can like predict, or not really. Like I didn't predict the pandemic to happen, but um just having perspective brings you like comfort, because it's not going to be so unexpected to you.
Yeah, yeah. So you have great mindsets. I like need to take in all this information.
Yeah, I wrote some stuff down for later, just like something I really believe in.
Mhm.
It's just
Yeah.
like there's one. So I listen to like just scroll through social media and there's like good stuff and there's negative stuff. But
Mhm.
one of the positive takeouts was from Gary Vee when he says like perfection is like a disguise to insecurity. And although like people might take that as a bad way, I kind of interpret it like in a better manner. It's like everyone has a different definition of perfection. Perfection is just it's just like an opinion. So you can't really like base off what you want to be by setting perfect goals, if that makes sense. Like if
Mhm.
you strive to be perfect, you're likely to fail. And not to say that in a bad way, because you always should try to do your best. But if you are going to be perfect and you strive to make something perfect or do something perfect or work on something perfect, you're never gonna make it because you're never gonna believe it's perfect because your definition of perfect just changes. But if you don't release or you don't show your work, who's gonna tell you if it's perfect or not?
Yeah. Yeah. That's deep.
Yeah.
You're opening my eyes. Yeah. Let me think. So being a Machen Florida Opportunity Scholar, do you think that's changed how you view yourself either as a student or just like as a person?
I think definitely it's brought it helped me ease at all like the financial aid, like the financial needs of it. Because going into college, it was that's all you think about is debt.
Mhm.
And I personally didn't know if I was going to UF or not, or if I was going to get in. I was kind of set on USF, University of South Florida, because it was 30 minutes away from home. And I thought that was the comfortable way. And I was like, I realized that if I really want to start a new journey, if I want to be who I like, the goals I want to do, I kind of need to get out of that comfort zone. And once I got accepted in UF, I didn't know if I was going to have any financial aid. I just took the risk of, hey, I'm just going to go and whatever happens, it's going to pay off later. If I'm in debt, it's going to pay off later because I'm going to work towards that. And I kind of got lucky of being chosen to be part of MFOS, and it really has helped a lot. And not only has it like helped that like the financial side of it, but it's kind of helped me like personally because I realized like um you're kind of in it all together, and there's people around you doing the same thing on the same journey, and you have them by your side to help. And with first generation students, they kind of had that mindset too of like, hey, we're in this together. And although like some people might look down on us, we have each other, and what two is better than one, or so on. Yeah.
Yeah, that led perfectly into my next question, which was because obviously UF has, I think, 35 undergraduate students. And so, how's it been having, kind of the MFOS community, um, you know, just to be around and like have.
So like I know that they usually have more events and like in person and like just at specific times so like everyone can meet up and talk, especially like the dinners with Dr. Machen and his family and then President Kent Fox. But although we couldn't do that, I think they try to do as much events as possible just to like let you interact with them at least because you can't interact with other people.
Mhm.
I also took one of the required classes is first year Florida. I took it under an MFOS section with Richard, and just everyone there was able to communicate and just talk to each other. And I guess I made some friends through it because you're just in every week talking to each other about certain things. You learned about UF, but it ultimately was like just building a community and connections.
Yeah, that's awesome. think it's really great that they do the MFOS sections of first year Florida.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then one final wrap-up question that we're asking all interviewees is, if you could describe the first generation experience in one word, what word would that be?
Ooh, that's hard. One word. I guess it's like surreal. So it's like, uh, I don't know. That's a really hard one.
It is.
That's a really hard one because I would say difficult, but that kind of shows like a negative thing. But it really is difficult if you don't have the support system you need, like just around you. Like you can accept the support system and life could be easier. You could like think that you're alone because you were raised alone and you did everything alone, so you don't know how to accept it. But oh man, you got me there. I probably would say like surreal, like because a lot of people don't expect this moment to become like a dream to become a reality.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah. Is there anything else that you want to talk about that I didn't touch on?
I guess there's one thing I wrote down just as like a quote, just like a paragraph of like what I believe in, because I heard it. It was from one of like a commencement speech by Charlie Day, and he said something about like fear of failure, fear of comparison, fear of judgment, and fear of criticism. They'll always exist. So you don't let this stop. Wait, okay, let me restart. Comparison, judgment, criticism will always exist. So don't let this stop you from doing what makes you great. You need failure, judgment, criticism, and all of this to succeed. It's okay to fear it. It's okay to be afraid, but don't let it stop you. Be uncomfortable, take risks, learn to accept failure so you can fail and then pick yourself up and then move forward. Don't let others put their fears on you. Stop you from what you want. You're you're in control. Another human shouldn't be responsible for who you want to be. And I really like believe in that because a lot of people tend to put their fears on you. Kind of like when you want to do something, they're like, why are you doing this? Like you're not going to succeed, but that's their fear. That's not yours. But then they make it your fear, and that's what brings you down. And something that my friend told me the other day, and it kind of relates with like my view on perfection and how like there's no definite definition. Instead of saying practice makes perfect, you say practice makes progress, because as long as you practice, you're going to keep getting better, but you're never going to get perfect because that's never going to satisfy you.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, thank you so much for sharing that. That was awesome. I'm a big fan of like words and poetry and speeches, so I definitely
I'm not a writer. Like I dread writing, but there's always thoughts that I listen to and I just believe in. And like I really believe that like if you have a positive outlook in life, that you're gonna have a good life, because like you're always negative, it's just gonna keep bringing you down. It's just gonna keep like you're kind of like a punching bag. It's just you're gonna keep getting punched at if you keep being negative.
Yeah. Amazing analogy. Yeah. Are there any like final questions you have for me, or?
I'm not sure.
That's okay if you don't.
I don't know. We touched on a lot of topics.
Yeah.
Just like in general.
I went through all my questions, I think. So yeah, I'll go ahead and stop the recording.